On Friday, we talked about respect, called it the operating system for being human. It's the baseline, the fundamental code for how we interact with each other. Today, we're installing the next layer of software on top of that operating system, leadership. Now, when I say leadership, what comes to mind? Is it a CEO in a corner office? A charismatic politician at a podium? A general commanding troops? We often confuse leadership with a position, with a title, with being in charge. But true leadership is none of those things. Leadership is the discipline of taking responsibility for the space you occupy. It's about your tone, your impact on others, the choices you make, how you regulate your own emotions, and the influence you have on everyone in the room. So, if respect is how you treat humanity, leadership is how you steward it. Let's break down what leadership actually is. It's a practice. It's not a state you achieve, but something you do, moment by moment. It starts with regulating yourself first, before you try to manage anyone or anything else. It's about taking complete responsibility for your impact, intended or not. It's about creating a sense of safety and clarity for the people around you, so they can do their best work and be their best selves. It's about protecting the dignity of every single person in the room, especially when things get tense. And it's about making decisions that are aligned with your core values, not your fleeting impulses or emotional reactions. Leadership isn't about authority. It's about responsibility. Your ability to choose your response instead of just reacting from a place of threat or fear. Think about it this way. Leadership is not who talks the loudest. Leadership is who stays the most regulated. So what's at the core of this idea? Philosophically, leadership is built on 3 unbreakable commitments. First, humanity. People are not tools or resources to be used. They are complex human beings with rich inner worlds, with hopes, fears, and dreams. Second, dignity. Every person's intrinsic worth is non-negotiable. It doesn't fluctuate based on their performance, their mood, or your opinion of them. And third, responsibility. Your behavior is your job, period. It doesn't matter what someone else says or does. How you choose to act is 100% on you. This is why leadership is a moral practice, not a mechanical one. It's not a checklist you can mindlessly follow. It's about how you treat people when it's hard, when you're stressed, when you're under pressure, not just when it's easy and everything is going your way. It's the courage to act from your values instead of your emotions. Now let's look at the psychological core of leadership. This is where it gets really interesting. A leader's nervous system literally sets the tone for the entire room. When a leader is calm, centered, and regulated, you can feel the shift. People feel safe. They feel they can speak up without being attacked. Their own brains work better. They can think more clearly, solve problems more creatively, and communicate more honestly. In that state, people naturally cooperate instead of getting defensive. But what happens when a leader is dysregulated? When they're anxious, angry, or chaotic? The effect is just as powerful, but in the opposite direction. People shut down. They get defensive. They start mirroring that chaos, and the whole environment becomes unstable. Trust evaporates. Productivity plummets. It's a phenomenon called emotional contagion. Your regulation, or lack of it, becomes everyone else's regulation. Your nervous system is the thermostat for the room. Everyone else is just a thermometer, reflecting the temperature you set. So how do we get from respect to leadership? Let's build the bridge. Respect says, I see you. You are a human being with inherent dignity. That's the foundation. Leadership takes it a step further. Leadership says, and I will take responsibility for how my behavior affects you and your dignity. Respect is the foundation, and responsibility is the structure you build on top of it. Leadership is the daily practice of maintaining that structure. Here's a simple formula to remember. Leadership equals respect plus responsibility. If you have respect without responsibility, you're just passive. You might be a nice person, but you're not leading. You're not taking ownership of your impact. On the flip side, if you have responsibility without respect, you become controlling and authoritarian. You might get things done, but you'll likely steamroll people in the process, treating them like objects. It's only when you combine the too deep respect for others and radical responsibility for yourself that you get true leadership. So what does this look like in practice? Here are 5 drillable, repeatable behaviors of leadership that anyone can learn. First, clarity. Say what you mean without contempt, sarcasm, or confusion. Be direct but kind. Second, consistency. Your tone, your boundaries, and your expectations shouldn't swing wildly from day to day. People need to know what to expect from you. That predictability creates safety. Third, regulation. You don't let your own emotional dysregulation punish the room. You feel your feelings, but you manage them so they don't spill out and create chaos for everyone else. Fourth, accountability. You own your impact without making excuses or shifting blame. When you mess up, you say so. You apologize, and you make it right. And fifth, direction. You guide the group toward solutions, not downward spirals of complaint or blame. You keep the focus on moving forward. Remember, leadership is not about being perfect. It's about being predictable in the ways that matter most. These behaviors don't just show up in big, dramatic moments. Leadership is forged in the micro moments of everyday life. It's taking that one extra breath before you respond to a frustrating email. It's choosing to be clear instead of using sarcasm. It's asking a curious question instead of making a negative assumption. It's naming a problem without attacking the person associated with it. It's holding a boundary firmly but without hostility. It's repairing a relationship quickly after you've made a mistake. It's staying steady when someone else is spiraling. These aren't heroic acts. They are small, daily disciplines. Leadership is not a title, it's a tone. To truly embody this, you have to make an identity shift. It's a move from being reactive to being intentional. From acting on every emotional impulse to practicing emotional regulation. It's a shift from looking for someone to blame to taking ownership. From trying to control others to focusing on controlling yourself. From making decisions based on fear to making decisions based on your values. This shift is what separates emotional adulthood from emotional childhood. Leadership is the moment you stop asking, who's at fault here? And you start asking, what's my responsibility here? So let me ask you a few things to think about. What does leadership feel like in your body? When you're in that calm, centered, responsible state, what does that physically feel like? Think about the most regulated person you know. The person who just feels safe to be around. What is it about them that creates that feeling? Where do you personally lose your own leadership the fastest? Is it in your tone of voice? Your pace? Do you jump to assumptions, or do your boundaries crumble under pressure? Now for the most important part, what's one leadership behavior you want to consciously practice this week? Maybe it's taking that breath before responding. Maybe it's owning a mistake without making an excuse. And on the other side, what's one behavior you want to retire? Is it sarcasm, blaming, gossiping? Pick one of each. To close out, I want to leave you with this. Leadership is not about being in charge of other people. It's about being in control of yourself. When you combine deep, genuine respect for the humanity in others with a radical sense of responsibility for your own impact, you become someone people naturally trust. You become someone people want to follow. You become someone people feel safe around. And that, right there, is the true foundation of leadership. Thanks for watching today. Next time, we're going to connect all of this to empathy and explore how great leaders can understand, validate, and guide people without losing themselves in the process. I am Jim Rutherford, and this is the Want to Project.